To the Minister of Conservation, when will she release the expanded review concerning mining in the conservation estate, repeatedly referred to by the Prime Minister in his post-Cabinet conference of 15 March 2010 and reported by the media?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
On behalf of the Minister of Conservation, soon.
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallett.
Mr Speaker, this might be one for consideration, and I know it is the general practice for any minister to be able to answer on behalf of any other minister, but generally it's been the practice of governments where there's been a conflict between portfolios that the minister in the conflicting portfolio doesn't act for the minister with whom the conflict is, and I ask you to consider that matter for a later report.
Thank you. Well, I will consider that, but at this stage the government has the prerogative to determine who answers the questions. I take the point on board, and I'll ask, the Minister has replied. The Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Is the Minister of Conservation's reluctance to clarify the expanded terms of reference which were repeatedly referred to by the Prime Minister on Monday because they do not exist?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, the work on behalf of the Minister of Conservation, might I say that this is a paper that will be released publicly as a joint paper between the Minister of Conservation and the Minister for Energy and Resources, and when the Cabinet has finished its work on the paper, it will be put into the public domain for comment. Until that time, I make no comment.
Point of order, the Honourable David Parker.
My question was about the expanded terms of reference, which no minister seems to be willing to comment upon, and I thought it would be appropriate to ask the Minister to actually answer the question that I asked.
Well, he's the Minister speaking on behalf... Order, I'm speaking. The Minister is speaking on behalf of another Minister and possibly doesn't have all that information, so it is a broad statement that you originally asked, and I'm comfortable with his response. The Honourable David Parker.
The real reason that the Minister of Conservation can't release the discussion document or the mythical revised terms of reference because the discussion document opening up mining in national parks in the Coromandel was thought too hot to handle, and the Prime Minister wants to do further polling before taking his decision.
Mr Speaker,
the Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
On behalf of the Minister for Conservation, that question, if it is a question, was loaded with all sorts of supposition and innuendo and falls well short of Standing Order 327 and should be knocked out. All I will tell the member is that there is a public discussion document coming, and when it comes, he'll be one of the first to know.
Point of order. Point of order, Honourable Trevor Mallett.
Mr Speaker, if a member believes that a question should have been knocked out if it was out of order, either that member takes a point of order at the beginning or that member leaves it, because otherwise, sir, it is a reflection on you.
Thank you.
Because it's your job to rule it out.
Thank you. I accepted the question. The political innuendo that the member brought in was responded to in a way which I think was appropriate. Honourable David Parker.
Supplementary. How can New Zealanders have confidence that the Minister of Conservation will appropriately protect national parks and other Schedule 4 areas when it's clear that the principles behind the review are being made up on the fly?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister for Conservation, can I just say that that member has got it completely wrong, and that questions loaded with that sort of supposition are not going to get treated seriously by anyone, let alone this Minister.
Can't plan your way out of this one, Jerry.
The Honourable David Parker.
Why then will the Minister not answer my simple question as to when the revised terms of reference referred to repeatedly by the Prime Minister on Monday will be released?
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Acting Minister for Conservation, on behalf of the Minister for Conservation, can I say that question was answered. It was answered by the Deputy Prime Minister, and on behalf of the Prime Minister, it's been answered earlier this afternoon by the Acting Minister for, or on behalf of the Minister for Conservation, and I answer again, soon.
The Honourable David Parker.
We have the same problem, sir, in response to questions from the Greens, in response to questions from me today and yesterday about terms of reference. The Minister chooses to reply in respect of the discussion document. They are two different documents. He knows that, and he should answer the question that was asked.
No, the Minister has just indicated that there's been a number of similar responses to this. The member may not agree with what the Minister has said. If we looked at what the question was, it was about the release of the document, and the member twice said soon. That's the time frame in which the Minister has responded. We move to... Speaking to the point of order, Dr Russell Norman.
The question I have is around the use of the word soon. Now, this was a question for notice. It wasn't a supplementary. The use of the word soon, I think, is not an acceptable...
No, well...
In the light of the fact that it was on notice.
Sit down. I'm standing. I am standing. It may not be Order. It may not be acceptable from the member's point of view, but soon is a word that reflects that in a time frame shortly or whenever that may happen. And the Minister, remember, is answering the question on behalf of someone else, and I have actually accepted that. So, point of order, the Honourable George Hawkins.
Yes, when you were talking, members of the backbench of the National Party were yelling out, "Sit down." Now, I find that unworthy of them and not good parliamentary practice.
Thank you. Were they yelling out at me, or were they... Look, I'm on... Order, please. Order. This is a point of order. Members know that when points of order are being taken, they're to be taken in silence. So thank you for that. Now, the Dr Russell Norman.
Speaker, then could you assist me? Could you help me with interpreting what would be the definition of the word soon?
No, I'm not. I am not.
Is it a week? Is it a month?
I am not entering into the debate. The Minister has made a statement. I've accepted that statement, and that's the end of the matter. We now move to question number 9.